Right now, you might feel a tightness in your chest and a voice telling you can't reach your dreams. Have you ever stared at your reflection and wondered why you hold yourself back? Today, you will discover 10 clear steps to break free from fear, build confidence. You will feel the energy rise as you learn to take control of your thoughts, to cut off doubt, and to keep promises to yourself. What if you could choose supportive people and stand up for your goals, even when your hands shake? What if you could train your mind to focus on one goal and act on your plan when you feel weak? I will guide you through steps that match your habits to your future and prove yourself right with real results, not opinions. Stay until the end and claim the belief that sets your whole life in motion. Number 1, take full control of your thoughts and choices now. You've been taught to wait until you feel ready, to wait until someone believes in you, to wait for the perfect moment to finally become the person you were meant to be. But here's the truth, the perfect moment never comes, and nobody's going to hand you the life you dream of. You have to decide right now that you're done waiting. You have to take full control of your thoughts and your choices starting today, because the longer you let your mind run on autopilot, the further you drift from the life you could have had. I've met people who had every reason to win, intelligence, talent, opportunity, but they never did. Not because they lacked skill, but because they never believed they were in control. They blamed the world. They waited for things to change, and it never did. You know what they lacked? Power over their own mind. That's what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. The ability to master their own thoughts, to steer their own decisions, even when life is hard and the odds are against them. If you want to believe in yourself, you can't rely on feeling good every day. That's not how belief is built. Belief comes when you look your own doubt in the face and move anyway. Belief comes from choices, not feelings. And you can choose to believe. You can choose to get up even when you feel low. You can choose to act even when your mind tells you you're not enough. Every single day, you are making tiny decisions. What to say to yourself, what to focus on, what to feed your mind. That's either building your confidence or destroying it. You're not powerless. You never were. But if you keep letting your thoughts go unchallenged, you'll keep repeating the same habits. And habits become patterns. And patterns become your life. So if you want a different life, you need a different pattern. That starts in your head. That starts with what you say to yourself when no one's around. That starts when you decide that your thoughts don't run the show. You do. Start paying attention to what your mind tells you. Is it pushing you forward or pulling you back? Is it telling you what's possible or constantly replaying what's gone wrong? If your thoughts are dragging you down, don't just accept it. Fight it. You're not a victim of your mind. You are the gatekeeper of your focus. You decide what stays and what goes. But if you don't decide, your old patterns will decide for you. I've seen people transform their entire life simply by changing the way they think when they wake up. Not some magical formula, just a commitment to take control. They wake up and they say, today, I decide what this day means. Today, I direct my mind instead of letting it wander. They take that power back every morning and they don't give it up for anyone. You can do that. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You need a decision. You don't have to believe in the whole picture right now. Just believe in the next step. Believe that if you can control the way you talk to yourself, you can change the way you feel. And if you can change the way you feel, you can change the way you act. And if you can change the way you act, you can change your results. That's how belief is built. Small wins, one by one. You don't build belief by shouting affirmations into the mirror. You build it by doing the things you said you would do. You build it by saying, I will wake up early today, and then doing it. I will show up on time, and then doing it. That consistency becomes proof, and your brain starts to trust you. And that's where real confidence begins, not in the noise, but in the evidence. But you can't get to that point if you keep giving your power away. If you say, I can't help how I feel, you've already lost. If you say, this is just the way I am, you've already quit. You're not locked in. Your brain isn't fixed. Your habits aren't set in stone, but they will be if you don't challenge them. Every thought you repeat becomes stronger. So if you keep repeating doubt, fear, shame, that's what you train your brain to believe. But if you start feeding it a different message, one based on truth, on vision, on commitment, it will shift. Slowly at first, then faster, and eventually it becomes your new normal. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about owning your reality and deciding you're still in charge, because that's what separates the winners. They don't wait until they feel ready. They take full responsibility for their focus, their habits, their emotions. They don't chase motivation. They build discipline. They don't need permission to go after what they want. If you want to achieve your dream life, you have to stop treating your mind like a garbage can. You can't keep throwing in every fear, every complaint, every excuse, and expect to feel strong. You have to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Your dream life is not built by one giant decision. It's built by thousands of small ones. Every time you choose to push forward instead of backing down, every time you get uncomfortable on purpose, every time you say no to distraction and yes to discipline, that's how belief is built. You will never believe in yourself if your actions tell your brain you're a liar. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, your mind will stop trusting you. But if you keep your word, even when it's hard, your brain starts to say, maybe we are strong. Maybe we can do this. That's not ego. That's evidence. You can't fake self-respect. It comes from doing the hard things you said you would do, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when it's just you and your thoughts. That's when the real battle is won. And make no mistake, it is a battle, because the world is noisy. People will doubt you. Your past will try to haunt you. Your mind will try to convince you that you're not ready. But you don't need perfect conditions. You need courage. You need discipline. You need to say, I run this mind. I choose what I focus on. I decide what my day means. I am not a slave to emotion. I am the author of this chapter. That's power, and it's available to you, but only if you take it. Don't wait for the world to believe in you. Believe in yourself because you've earned it, because you've done the work, because you fought through the noise, because you took control when it was easier to give in. The dream life you want, it won't come from wishing. It won't come from complaining. It comes from doing what others won't, from showing up when it's uncomfortable, from making strong choices when weak ones are easier. So if you want that life, it starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel better. Now, with one decision, take full control of your thoughts. Take full control of your choices, because when your mind is yours, your future is too. Number 2, cut off all doubts that block your growth. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are just buried under doubts that were never yours to begin with. Somewhere along the way, someone convinced you that you couldn't be more, that your ideas didn't matter, that your dreams were too big, and slowly you started to believe them. That's the tragedy. It wasn't failure that stopped you. It was hesitation. It was second guessing. It was a mind full of doubts whispering, you'll never be enough. And if you don't cut those doubts out now, they'll steal everything from you. Not just your dreams, but your spirit, your confidence, your future. You have no idea how much power you've handed over to doubt. Every time you hesitated to speak up, every time you told yourself, I'm not ready, every time you downplayed your goals just to fit in, you were reinforcing a lie. That lie says you're not capable, but capability isn't proven in silence. It's proven in action. And you'll never take bold action if doubt keeps running your life. Doubt is not truth. Doubt is fear dressed up in logic. It sounds reasonable. It says things like, be careful, what if it doesn't work? You're not qualified. But here's the twist. Doubt never cares about your growth. Doubt only cares about comfort, and comfort kills progress. If you don't start filtering your mind, if you don't stop giving energy to these mental roadblocks, you will wake up one day and realize your life was shaped by hesitation, not intention. People ask me all the time, Jim, how do I get rid of doubt? You don't wait for it to leave. You rip it out. You confront it. You treat it like an enemy, because that's what it is, an enemy to your potential. You can't make peace with the voice that keeps you small. You have to get clear, brutally clear, on what is helping your growth and what is hurting it. If doubt is holding the wheel, your life will always go in circles. You've got to cut it off at the root. That means going back to where it started. Who told you you couldn't? Who made you feel like you didn't have what it takes? Whose voice still plays in your head when you want to take a step forward? That voice doesn't belong in your future. You're not that person anymore. You've seen more, survived more, and you know better now. So act like it. Stop giving power to old opinions and start building your own beliefs. Here's a truth that most people don't want to face. Growth is painful, not because it's hard, but because it demands you kill the part of you that keeps settling. And that part of you will fight back. It'll use every doubt, every failure, every insecurity to hold you in place. You have to decide what you want more, the comfort of the past or the freedom of the future. You can't have both. You need to stop calling doubt caution. It's not protecting you, it's blocking you. Doubt disguises itself as logic, but it's really just fear, whispering, stay small. It pretends to be your friend, but it's the reason you keep playing it safe, staying quiet, holding back. Every goal you've talked yourself out of, every dream you've delayed, doubt was behind it. And the longer you entertain it, the louder it gets. You don't outgrow doubt, you outwork it. You show up even when your hands shake. You speak up even when your voice is unsure. You try again even when your past screams, you'll fail. That's how belief is born. Not from wishing, but from choosing to move even when the ground feels shaky. Every time you act in the face of doubt, you prove it wrong. And that's how you kill it, by starving it of proof and feeding your mind new evidence. But you've got to be ruthless. Doubt doesn't deserve a place in your plan. It doesn't get a seat at the table. You cut it off by surrounding yourself with people who remind you of your strength, not your limits. You cut it off by reading, listening, learning, feeding your brain with fuel, not fear. You cut it off by refusing to repeat the same old story that has held you down for too long. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the version of you that doubted everything. You are the version that decided right now that your growth matters more than your excuses, and don't expect everyone to understand. Most people won't. Most people are still chained to their own doubts. They will question your confidence. They will call it arrogance. They will ask you to shrink so they can feel tall. Ignore it. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need validation from the people who stop believing in their own dreams. You're not here to please. You're here to grow. You're here to become someone your past self would be proud of. And that requires decisions that others won't make. Cutting off doubt isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. You wake up and you check your mind. What am I thinking? Where am I going? What am I feeding myself today? You filter your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. You protect your self-talk. You challenge every belief that says you can't with action that proves you just did. That's how growth works. It's not magic, it's discipline. And here's something else. Don't just fight doubt, replace it. Replace it with certainty built from effort. Replace it with clarity built from action. Replace it with goals that pull you so hard you stop entertaining the lies that hold you back. Give your mind something stronger to focus on. Doubt grows in idle space, so fill that space with work, with learning, with movement. Fill it with discipline, and watch how quickly doubt fades. You don't need to be fearless, you need to be committed. Doubt doesn't go away because you're brave, it goes away because you're consistent. You show up again and again and again until your brain finally says, "We do hard things now." That becomes your new identity. That becomes your new standard. And suddenly, you're no longer asking, "Can I do this?" You're asking, "What's next?" Because when you cut off doubt, your whole world changes. You stop shrinking. You stop hiding. You stop apologizing for wanting more. And you start doing what you were meant to do. Build, create, rise. You take the same energy you used to waste on overthinking and pour it into results. You get focused. You get clear. You stop spinning and start moving. That dream life you keep thinking about, it's waiting for you. But it's behind the wall of your own doubt. Break it down. Tear it down. Burn it down. Whatever it takes. Because you're not stuck. You're just listening to the wrong voice. Start listening to the one that says you're not done yet. That there's more in you. That you've just begun. And if you want to change your life, here's where it starts. Cut off the doubt. Cut off the noise. Cut off the weak thoughts that have held you back for too long. Today, not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Right now. The future belongs to those who stop overthinking and start owning their power. That future is yours, but you have to claim it. Number 3, build your self-worth by keeping your promises daily. You stop trusting people when they keep breaking their promises to you. So what do you think happens when you keep breaking your promises to yourself? That's why your self-worth feels low. That's why it's hard to believe in yourself. It's not because you're weak. It's because deep down, you no longer believe your own words. You say you'll start waking up early. You don't. You say you'll stop scrolling and start reading, but you don't. You say you're serious this time, but you don't follow through. And after enough of those days, your mind starts to tune you out. It doesn't believe you anymore. Self-worth isn't something you get from compliments or achievements. It's something you build by doing what you said you would do, and you build it brick by brick, choice by choice, day after day. You can't shortcut your way to it. You can't fake it. Because deep down, you know the truth. You know whether you showed up for yourself or not. And when you don't show up, when you make excuses instead of progress, that voice inside you gets quieter, colder, more distant. That's not punishment, it's feedback. The truth is, you don't feel proud of what you haven't earned. You don't feel powerful after a day of avoiding your goals. You don't respect yourself after a week of broken promises. And no amount of fake motivation can replace that emptiness. You don't need more hype. You need to rebuild the relationship you have with yourself. And that starts with one thing: keeping your word. Start small if you have to, but start. If you said you'll drink a full bottle of water by noon, do it. If you said you'll write for 10 minutes today, do it. If you said you'll go for a walk, don't cancel. It might not seem like much, but every time you follow through, your brain takes note. It says, wait a second, maybe we can trust ourselves again. And that feeling right there, that's the beginning of confidence. Most people wait for confidence before they act, but that's backward. Action builds confidence. Consistency builds belief. You can't think your way into self-worth. You have to earn it by doing the work when nobody's watching. The minute you start doing what you said you'd do, something changes inside of you. You walk differently. You speak differently. You don't need permission anymore because you've got proof. And that proof is worth more than any compliment. You have to become the kind of person you admire, not just when it's easy, especially when it's hard. You have to become the kind of person who shows up tired, who follows through when no one's clapping, who gets it done because it's what they promised themselves, not because it feels good in the moment. That kind of person is rare. That kind of person is dangerous. That kind of person can't be stopped. When you say you'll do something and then you do it, that sends a powerful message to your subconscious. I am reliable. I follow through. I am not a victim of my feelings or circumstances. I have control, and you can't buy that feeling. You have to earn it every single day by making promises and keeping them, not to impress anyone else, just to earn back your own respect. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be honest. You need to stop making promises you don't plan to keep. You need to stop saying, I'll start tomorrow, when you know you won't. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, enough. Enough lying to myself. Enough hiding. Enough pretending this version of me is all I'll ever be. Because it's not. You're better than this. But you'll never believe that until you show yourself. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard, not because you hate yourself, but because you're tired of feeling like a fraud. Because you're tired of living below your potential. Because you're tired of wishing and hoping and waiting. That's not living. That's surviving. And you were made to build, to grow, to lead. But none of that happens until you rebuild that trust with yourself. Think about it. Every great transformation begins with a decision. And that decision isn't made once. It's made over and over, in silence, in discipline, in the small, boring choices no one claps for. That's where character is built. That's where belief is built. That's where your self-worth grows, not from what you say, but from what you do when it matters. You can start right now. Pick one promise, just one. Make it something so simple you have no excuse to miss it. Maybe it's reading 5 pages. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's waking up without hitting snooze. But pick something and commit. Do it today. Then do it tomorrow. And then again. Because every time you keep that promise, you're building something that can't be faked. You're building trust. And trust is the foundation of everything. And when you start building that trust, something powerful happens. You start believing you can do more. You start raising your standards. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop making decisions based on how you feel. And you start making decisions based on who you want to become. That's when the shift happens. That's when your life starts to change. You stop quitting early. You stop making excuses. You stop needing outside approval. Because you've got something better, self-respect. And that self-respect is loud. It shows up in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you face challenges. People notice, but more importantly, you notice, and that's what matters most. You want to change your life? Don't start with a big plan. Start with one promise, and then keep it, day after day, not for others, for you. Because you deserve to trust yourself again. You deserve to feel proud again. You deserve to become someone you believe in. And that doesn't happen overnight. It happens every morning, every decision, every small action you choose not to skip. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking for secrets. The answer has been right in front of you all along. Keep your word. Show up. Do what you said you'd do. Build your self-worth from the inside out. That's how you create lasting change. That's how you start living instead of existing. You want to feel better? Do better. You want to feel stronger? Act stronger. You want to believe in yourself? Become someone worth believing in. And that starts today with one promise and the courage to keep it. Because no one else can do this for you. You have to decide that you matter enough to follow through. You have to decide that your future is worth the effort. And when you do, your whole life begins to shift. Not because someone saved you, but because you finally saved yourself. Number 4, remove people who do not believe in you. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must look around and realize this truth. Some people are not meant to go where you're going, and the longer you keep them in your life, the heavier your journey becomes. You feel it in your chest when you share your dreams and get silence. You see it in their eyes when you succeed and they act cold. You hear it in their voice when they doubt your goals and make you question yourself. That's not love. That's resistance in disguise. And if you don't learn how to remove those people, they will drain your energy, dull your light, and hold you back from becoming who you were meant to be. It's not about being cruel or arrogant. It's about protecting your mind. Because your environment shapes you more than you think. You're not just influenced by what people say to your face. You're influenced by how they treat your progress, how they react when you change, and how they respond when you choose growth over comfort. And some people, they only support you as long as you stay the same. The moment you start breaking away, leveling up, becoming more disciplined, more focused, more driven, they get uncomfortable. And instead of cheering for you, they start throwing little doubts, making small jokes, or even going silent. That silence, it speaks volumes. You need people in your life who see your potential before you even prove it. People who hear your vision and don't laugh, they listen. People who don't pull you down when you slip, but remind you of your strength. That kind of support is rare, and it's worth everything. But the ones who don't believe in you, the ones who keep you small, who feed your doubts, who pretend to care but secretly want you to stay stuck, you've got to walk away. Not tomorrow, today. Here's the truth. No one wants to admit keeping the wrong people in your life is a decision, and it comes with a price. That price is your peace, your clarity, your focus, and eventually, your future. You can't build something meaningful while constantly defending it from the people closest to you. You can't rise while carrying the weight of judgment and sarcasm. You can't stay confident when you're surrounded by voices that question your every step. You must make a decision that your future matters more than their opinions. It's going to hurt. That's real. It's going to feel lonely. That's normal. But you'll survive. In fact, you'll come out stronger. Because once you stop living for approval, you start living with purpose. Once you stop waiting for others to see your value, you begin to define your worth by your actions, not their acceptance. And the moment you remove the wrong voices from your life, the right ones start showing up. But they can't come in until you clear the space. You don't need a crowd. You need alignment. One friend who believes in you, who pushes you, who reminds you who you are when you forget. That's more powerful than 100 shallow voices. So stop chasing validation. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who aren't even growing. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Their doubt is not your truth. Their fear is not your future. Their limitations are not your destiny. You were not born to play small. You were not built to settle. And you were definitely not designed to keep people around who only believe in you halfway. You deserve people who see your fire and fan the flames. People who hear your plans and say, go for it. People who aren't intimidated by your ambition, but inspired by it. That's the energy you need around you, if you're serious about your dream life. But to attract those people, you have to become someone who sets standards, not just for your goals, but for your relationships. You have to decide what kind of energy you allow around your dreams. Because your dreams are fragile when they're young. They need protection. They need support. They need people who believe, even when there's nothing to show yet. That kind of belief is powerful. And when you surround yourself with it, you grow faster. You feel lighter. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop explaining yourself. You start building. You don't have to cut people off with hate. You do it with love and clarity. You can say, I'm moving in a different direction. You can distance yourself quietly. You don't need drama. You need direction. And every time you choose to move forward, instead of staying stuck with people who don't believe in you, you prove to yourself that you're serious. That kind of decision sends a message to your subconscious. I believe in me, even if they don't. That's how your self-worth grows. That's how your focus sharpens. That's how your confidence rises. Because now your mind isn't fighting battles with people who don't understand. It's focused on creating, building, improving. It's focused on winning. And that shift, that changes everything. You owe it to yourself to be around people who don't make you question your worth. You owe it to your future to walk away from people who only see your past. You owe it to your goals to surround yourself with energy that builds, not breaks. And if that means walking alone for a season, so be it. Better to walk alone in the right direction than be surrounded and going nowhere. You were born to do something meaningful with your life, but you cannot do it if you keep watering dead relationships. You cannot do it if you keep hoping that one day they'll understand. Maybe they won't. Maybe they never will. That's okay. It's not your job to convince anyone. Your only job is to protect your purpose and pursue it fully. If someone doesn't believe in you, they don't get access to your dreams. They don't get access to your time. They don't get access to your energy. That's reserved for people who value it. And if you haven't found those people yet, become that person for yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Be your own support. Be your own believer. Because once you show the world you take yourself seriously, the world starts taking you seriously too. So ask yourself today, who do I need to distance myself from to move forward? Who is secretly holding me back with their doubt, their sarcasm, their silence? Who do I feel smaller around? And what would it look like to walk away, not with anger, but with peace? That answer might be hard to face, but it's the key to your freedom. Now is the time to reclaim your space. Now is the time to protect your energy. Now is the time to remove anyone who doesn't believe in your vision. Because your dream life is not going to build itself. It needs you clear. It needs you focused. It needs you surrounded by belief, not doubt. And if you're ready for that, you've got a clean house. Believe in yourself enough to let go of what's not helping you grow. Make room for people who match your mindset. Choose your future over your fear, and walk forward with the confidence of someone who knows this is your time, and you're not wasting it trying to convince anyone to see what you already know deep down. You were made for more. Now go prove it. Number 5, stand up for your goals even when afraid. Most people never reach their goals not because they didn't want it badly enough, but because they were too afraid to defend their dream when it counted. Fear showed up, and they backed down. Doubt whispered, and they went silent. Pressure came, and they collapsed under it. And what they didn't realize is this: every time you turn your back on your goal out of fear, you're not just losing time, you're losing belief in yourself. That's the real cost of quitting early. It's not just about missed opportunities. It's about weakening the muscle of courage. And once that weakens, you start to live small, you start to dream less, you settle, and you convince yourself you're okay with it. But you're not okay with it. You know you were built for something more. You know that there's a version of you out there who doesn't fold when fear comes, who doesn't flinch when people doubt, who doesn't look for permission to chase what matters. And that version of you, that version comes alive the moment you decide to stand up for your goal. Even when your hands are shaking, even when your voice trembles, even when the odds are against you and the people around you don't get it. That's the line in the sand. That's where everything starts to shift. Standing up for your goal doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you're done running. It means you're ready to take ownership. And ownership is the foundation of power. When you start saying, this is mine, this is what I want, this is what I believe in, you take back control from the world. You stop outsourcing your direction to fear, to doubt, to critics, to your past, to excuses. You take it back, and when you do that, your energy changes. You walk different. You think different. You speak with more clarity because you're no longer hiding. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But being uncomfortable isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign you're alive, that you're growing, that you're moving forward. You think courage feels good at first? It doesn't. Courage feels like sweat, like butterflies, like racing thoughts. But it's not the absence of fear. It's the presence of action. You feel the fear, and you show up anyway. That's how you build belief. Not by talking about it, not by hoping for it, by proving to yourself that fear doesn't get to drive the car. There's a moment in every dreamer's journey when they have to decide, am I going to speak up for what I want, or am I going to keep quiet and watch it pass me by? And that moment doesn't just come once, it comes every single day. When someone questions your path, when things get hard, when the plan doesn't work, when you feel exposed. Every time that moment comes, you either lean in or back out. And every time you lean in, even a little bit, you grow. You become someone who doesn't just wish, they pursue. Someone who doesn't just imagine, they create. You don't need to feel fearless to make progress. You just need to feel committed. Committed to your future. Committed to your values. Committed to your vision. Because fear will come. But if your commitment is stronger than your fear, you will keep going. And that consistency, that quiet bravery, that's what changes lives. That's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Not talent, not connections, not money, but the decision to stand up even when afraid. Think about the times you backed down, not to shame yourself, but to be honest. What was the cost of playing small in those moments? What could have happened if you just said what you meant, did what you believed in, and followed through, even when it felt risky? That version of you still exists. They're not gone. They're just waiting for you to wake them up again. And the only way to wake that person up is to act, to say, this is what I want, and I'm not waiting for perfect conditions to pursue it. Start where you are, use what you have. But most of all, stand tall, because if you don't defend your goals, no one will do it for you. People will try to talk you out of it. Life will test you, but every time you stand up, you're teaching the world how to treat you. You're showing people, this is what matters to me. This is what I'm building, and I'm not asking for approval. This is how leaders are made, not in easy moments, but in hard ones. Not when the crowd is clapping, but when no one is watching, and you still keep pushing. You don't need to impress anyone. You need to stay loyal to the dream that lives in your chest, because that dream didn't show up by accident. It came with your name on it, but it won't build itself. It needs your voice. It needs your action. It needs your courage. When you learn to stand up for your goals while afraid, you stop waiting for fear to disappear. You stop waiting for people to understand. You stop looking for the perfect moment. You build your own moment. You create momentum by showing up over and over. That's where your strength grows, not before the fear, but inside of it, right in the middle of the doubt. That's where your confidence gets forged. You'll be surprised how quickly your world changes when you start standing tall. People treat you differently. Opportunities show up. Doors open. And it's not because life suddenly got easier. It's because you became someone who stopped bowing to fear. You became someone who respected their own dreams enough to fight for them. And when you live like that, people can feel it. They see the spark in your eyes. They hear the certainty in your words. And most importantly, you feel proud of the person you're becoming. You don't get that kind of pride from comfort. You earn it from facing what scares you and doing it anyway. That's how you change your identity. Not with big speeches, but with brave steps. You build belief one decision at a time, one conversation at a time, one act of courage at a time. And one day you'll look back and realize your life didn't change because you waited for permission. It changed because you stood up when fear said sit down. It changed because you got tired of settling. It changed because you wanted something real and you were willing to fight for it. So now it's your move. You can keep waiting, keep hiding, keep pretending that you'll go for it when things feel right, or you can make today the day you stop letting fear steal your voice. Stand up, speak with conviction, take the next step. Even if you're scared, especially if you're scared, that's how you'll know you're growing, and that's how you'll get closer to the life that's been waiting for you all along. Number 6, train your mind to focus on one goal. If you want to change your life, stop scattering your energy. One of the biggest reasons people never get where they want to go is because they're trying to chase too many things at once. They're working on 10 ideas, following 5 different plans, chasing every shiny thing that comes along. And at the end of the day, they're drained, confused, and stuck in the exact same place. The mind, when trained and directed, becomes a weapon. But when it's left unfocused and undisciplined, it turns against you. It pulls you in 100 different directions and robs you of your power. You have to learn how to tell your mind where to go instead of letting it drag you wherever it wants. And that starts with one clear decision. Pick one goal and make it your mission. Not 10 goals, not 5, just one. That's the breakthrough most people miss, because they think focusing on one thing is limiting, but it's the opposite. Focusing is freeing. When your mind has one job, it becomes sharp, alert, powerful. It knows what to look for. It starts filtering out distractions. You stop wasting time on things that don't move the needle. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else because you're no longer confused about what matters to you. You know what you're working on, and that changes how you move through the day. Clarity gives you confidence. It takes you out of emotional chaos and into consistent direction. And that kind of direction gives birth to progress. You wake up with purpose. You move with intention. You measure your days by action, not noise. You don't chase motivation because you've built momentum. And that momentum comes from one thing: focused effort on a single outcome. That's how winners win. They don't try to do everything. They try to do one thing extremely well. They discipline their attention. They ignore distractions, and they're willing to be misunderstood for it, because they know the value of staying on course even when the world is pulling them off track. You need to start thinking like that. You need to retrain your mental habits. That phone in your hand, those apps, those endless notifications, they're all rewiring your brain to seek novelty instead of mastery. You scroll more than you act. You plan more than you do. And the truth is, it's not because you're lazy, it's because you're scattered. Your focus is being stolen day by day, and you haven't fought to take it back. But that ends now. You need to take responsibility for your attention, like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. So ask yourself, what is the one thing that matters most to you right now? Not what looks good on paper, not what others expect, what feels right in your gut. That goal you can't stop thinking about, the one that keeps showing up in quiet moments, that's the one. Don't push it away. Don't dilute it. Honor it. Make it your focus. Write it down. Think about it every morning. Build your routine around it. Filter your decisions through it. And when distractions show up, and they will, you don't entertain them. You return to the mission. Training your mind is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Every morning, you must remind yourself what you're here to do. Every evening, you review how you did. You build self-trust by showing up consistently. You don't wait to feel ready. You start small and you stay focused. And over time, you'll notice something shift. Your mind won't feel so chaotic. You won't feel so lost. You'll start feeling proud of your discipline, and that pride builds self-worth. You'll start noticing progress. You'll start seeing how far you've come just by doing one thing every day with total commitment. When you focus your mind, you stop feeding your insecurities. You stop drowning in indecision. You stop being paralyzed by options. You build forward motion. And forward motion is everything. That's where belief grows. That's where success starts. Not in grand moments, but in the quiet, disciplined, focused work of someone who has made a decision and refuses to look away. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be committed. You'll slip. You'll get distracted. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is to train your mind to come back to center again and again until it becomes natural. And when it becomes natural, everything changes. Your confidence goes up because you're no longer guessing. Your energy goes up because you're no longer drained by meaningless effort. Your results go up because your time is being used with intention. That's the power of focus. It doesn't just improve your productivity. It reshapes your identity. You become someone who finishes what they start, someone who doesn't waste their time, someone who's serious about their life. You can either live in reaction or you can live in direction, but you can't do both. If your attention is being pulled in every direction, you are living in reaction. You're responding to everything but creating nothing. But when you train your mind to focus, you switch from reaction to direction. You stop surviving and start building. That's the mindset of creators. That's the mindset of leaders. That's the mindset of people who do the work others aren't willing to do. You don't need to be smarter. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to focus on one meaningful goal and move toward it every day. Get rid of the clutter. Turn off the noise. Stop trying to impress everyone. Pick your mission and stay with it. Let it anchor you. Let it strengthen you. Let it challenge you. Because at the end of the day, the person who wins is not the one who starts 100 things. It's the one who finishes what they started. And finishing takes focus. It takes discipline. It takes the courage to say no to the noise and yes to the work. And you have that courage inside of you right now. You just haven't used it yet, but now you will. Decide what matters. Remove distractions. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Focus is your superpower. And once you master it, there is nothing that can stop you from building the life you truly want. Number 7, speak to yourself with truth, strength, and courage. Every word you say to yourself shapes your future more than anyone else's opinion ever will. When nobody's watching, when you're alone with your thoughts, when it's quiet and you're faced with doubt or failure or fear, that's the moment that defines you. Because how you speak to yourself in that moment either pushes you forward or pulls you back. Most people don't realize it, but they've been feeding themselves lies for years. I'm not good enough. I'm too late. I'm not like them. And every time they say it, even silently, they weaken their own belief. That's where the destruction starts. Not in the world, but in the mirror. You've got to stop talking to yourself like you're powerless. You've got to start choosing words that make you stronger. Because no one else is going to give you the permission you're waiting for. No one else is going to show up every morning and remind you that you're worthy. That's your job. And it starts with truth. Not the soft truth that's meant to make you feel good. I'm talking about the truth that wakes you up. The truth that says, if you want something better, stop playing small. Stop pretending you don't care. Stop lying to yourself about how much time you have. Speak to yourself with honesty, even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. Because the truth will stretch you, but lies will destroy you. Then comes strength. After you speak the truth, you've got to add strength behind it. That's the voice that says, I've been through worse and I'm still here. I don't have to be perfect, but I refuse to stay stuck. I'm not quitting just because it's hard. Strength doesn't come from loud motivation. It comes from quiet decisions. It's that inner voice that says, I am not giving up on myself. Not now, not ever. And every time you say that to yourself, you chip away at the doubt. You teach your nervous system that you're safe to push forward. You build emotional muscle. You stop relying on other people to believe in you, because your own voice becomes your foundation. But here's where most people break. They forget the courage. Courage isn't just about doing big, scary things. It's about doing the hard thing when no one is clapping for you. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I've been afraid, but I'm not hiding anymore. I'm tired of my own excuses. I'm tired of waiting for the perfect day. I am going to do what I said I would do, even if I'm scared. That's courage. And courage, just like strength, is a choice. You either feed your fear or you feed your fire. But you don't get both. You can't keep whispering doubt to yourself every time you mess up and expect to feel powerful. You can't keep telling yourself you're behind and expect to move ahead. You've got to become the voice that calls you higher. And you've got to do it every day. Because no matter how strong you are, the world will test you. People will doubt you. Life will throw punches. But if you've built that voice inside, one rooted in truth, strengthened by resolve, and powered by courage, you'll stand. You won't fold every time the pressure comes. You'll remind yourself who you are and why you started. Start talking to yourself like someone who matters. Not just when things are going well. Not just when you feel inspired. But especially when you don't. Especially when you failed, when you're tired, when you feel lost. That's when your words matter most. That's when you decide, am I going to stay down or am I going to rise again? Because you are going to fail sometimes. You are going to feel lost. You're going to question yourself. That's part of growth. But when that happens, don't add to the pain by beating yourself up. That's not strength. That's self-sabotage. Real strength is when you can face your mess without making it your identity. It's when you say, I made a mistake, but I'm not a mistake. I fell short, but I'm not finished. I've been stuck, but I'm still standing. That's how strong people talk. That's how winners speak to themselves. With truth, with grit, with self-respect. And this isn't some feel-good pep talk. This is about taking control of the most important conversation of your life, the one happening inside your head. That conversation determines how you show up. It determines how hard you fight. It determines whether you give up or keep going. So make it count. Stop letting your inner critic run the show. Fire that voice and replace it with one that actually serves you, one that pushes you to rise, one that calls you to grow, one that reminds you that you are capable of more. And no, it won't be easy at first. If you've been tearing yourself down for years, speaking powerfully to yourself will feel strange. But do it anyway. Do it until it becomes normal, until it becomes automatic. Because every day you speak from strength instead of shame, you're rewiring your mind. You're creating new pathways. You're turning belief into habit. And eventually that voice becomes your anchor. You stop needing outside validation because you've built it from the inside out. This is what it takes to believe in yourself. Not positive thinking, not fake confidence. Real belief is built on truth, strength, and courage. And all of that comes from your inner dialogue. Start treating your words like weapons, because they are. And if you're not careful, they'll either destroy your spirit or defend your future. The choice is yours. Speak the truth to yourself about where you are, what you want, and what's in the way. Speak from strength, even when it feels shaky. Remind yourself of the progress you've made, the storms you've survived, and the fire inside you that won't quit. Speak with courage, especially when you're afraid. Call yourself to take action. Remind yourself that fear is not a reason to stop, and the more you do this, the more powerful you become. You won't just believe in yourself. You'll know yourself. You'll move differently. You'll walk into rooms with quiet confidence. You'll stop shrinking to fit in. You'll stop waiting to be chosen. You'll realize you already are. This is your responsibility, not your parents, not your friends, not your coach or your boss or your partner. Yours. You are the voice. You are the fire. You are the one who gets to decide how this story ends. And if you want to write a new chapter, it starts with how you talk to yourself today. Start now. Speak with truth. Speak with strength. Speak with courage. The world will follow your lead. Number 8, act on your plan, even when you feel weak. There will be days when your body feels heavy, your mind feels scattered, and your heart feels tired. But those are the days that matter most. Because acting on your plan when you feel strong is easy. But acting on it when you feel weak, that's where your character is born. That's where your future is built. When you're low on energy, when your emotions are pulling you in every direction, when the temptation to pause, delay, or quit whispers in your ear, that's when you find out who you really are. Not when it's comfortable, not when it's perfect, but when it costs you something just to keep going. Most people are waiting for the right mood, the right mindset, the perfect morning before they take action. And that's why they never break through, because they haven't learned the truth. Motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. And when your strength fades, when life presses in, when the dream feels far away, your discipline is all you have left. That's when you don't think about how you feel. You go back to your plan. You go back to your reason. You go back to your vision. Weakness isn't a sign to stop. It's a signal to push forward with even more purpose. It's the test before the breakthrough. It's what shows life that you're serious. And if you only show up when it's easy, you're not building anything worth keeping. Real progress isn't made in perfect conditions. It's made in the messy, unpredictable, emotionally draining moments that no one claps for. The days where you finish what you started simply because you said you would. You have to become the kind of person who moves anyway. The kind who doesn't need a spark to start. The kind who wakes up and puts in the work even when the weight of yesterday is still sitting on their chest. The kind who reminds themselves, I may not feel strong today, but my commitment is still alive. That's what separates winners from wishers. The action takers from the excuse makers. The doers from the talkers. You've got to fight for your future even when your present feels shaky. You've got to honor your plan even when your emotions try to convince you to rest. Weakness is temporary, but regret lasts a whole lot longer. And every time you show up for yourself in the hard moments, you gain ground. Maybe not all at once, maybe not in a way that anyone notices, but inside something changes. Your confidence deepens. Your trust in yourself strengthens. Your identity shifts. You stop being someone who needs permission to act, and you become someone who leads themselves no matter what. Don't misunderstand. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up even when it's not convenient, even when it's not pretty, even when you're doubting yourself in the background. Because action builds belief, movement builds clarity, And when you follow through on your plan during the hard days, you tell your brain, I don't just act when I feel like it. I act because I've made a choice. Think about the life you want, the goals you've written down, the person you know you can be. That vision didn't show up in your mind for no reason. It was given to you for a purpose. But it won't happen by accident. It won't just fall into your lap because you want it bad enough. It's going to take grit. It's going to take follow through. It's going to take choosing your dream over your discomfort. You won't always feel like it. Some mornings you'll wake up and feel like the fire is gone. But if you act anyway, you'll find that fire again. Because action reignites motivation. One small move, one step forward, one line written, one rep completed, it creates momentum. And that momentum begins to carry you past the weakness, past the self-doubt, past the fatigue. And you start to remember, you're not powerless, you're just untrained. But training begins with the choice to keep going, even when every part of you wants to quit. I know what it feels like to question your strength, to wonder if you're capable of seeing it through, but I also know what it feels like to push through anyway. And I promise you, there is no better feeling than looking back on a hard day and saying, I didn't give in, I stayed with it, I did what I said I'd do. That's what builds self-worth. That's what builds pride. That's what builds a life worth living. So when you feel weak, don't run from it. Use it. Let it remind you of how badly you want change. Let it be the fuel for your discipline. Because if you can act in weakness, you will become unstoppable in strength. The people who win aren't superhuman. They're just relentless. They don't trust their feelings to make their future. They trust their habits, their systems, their decisions. You have that power too, right now. You have everything you need to take the next step, no matter how small. You don't need to feel strong. You just need to move. Take one honest step toward your plan. Do the next piece of work. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for everything to align. Just move. Because every time you act when it's hard, you're not just making progress. You're becoming someone new. You are building a mindset that doesn't fold under pressure. You are building a future that doesn't depend on perfect timing. You are creating a life that's driven by purpose, not excuses. And when you get there, when the goal becomes real, when the dream starts taking shape, you'll look back and realize that it wasn't the easy days that got you there. It was the weak ones, the ones where you felt like quitting, the ones where no one would have blamed you if you stopped. But you didn't. You acted, you kept going, and that changed everything. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to take action. And that action, even in weakness, will set your whole life in motion. So do it now, not later, not when you're energized. Now, act on your plan, not because it's easy, not because you feel great, but because you made a promise to yourself. And you're the kind of person who keeps it. If you want to believe in your dream, this is how you prove it. You move forward even when it's hard. You follow through even when you're tired. You rise even when you feel like sinking. That's how you win. That's how you grow. And that's how you build a life that no one can take from you. So get up, breathe deep, and take the step. Your plan matters. Your future matters. And even on your weakest days, so do you. Number 9, choose habits that match your future dream life. If you want to live the life of your dreams, then every choice you make today has to be a direct reflection of that future. Because your habits are the invisible architects of your destiny. Imagine waking up every morning, knowing that each action you take is a brick laid firmly toward the life you long for. Now imagine the opposite. Living day after day with habits that drift you further away, no matter how much you wish for something better. The truth is, your future is sculpted not by grand occasional efforts, but by the small, consistent habits you cultivate every single day. We often hear that habits make the person, but have you truly considered what kind of person your habits are creating? If you want wealth, peace, health, or freedom, your daily routines must be in harmony with those desires. The moment your actions start contradicting your dreams is the moment you set yourself up for frustration, stagnation, and self-doubt. This invisible war between what you want and what you do daily is the silent enemy of progress. Think about it. If your dream is to be a confident, energetic leader, but you regularly skip your morning rituals, procrastinate, or consume negativity, you're programming yourself for failure. Your habits whisper messages to your subconscious mind every day, telling it who you are and what you deserve. When these habits are misaligned with your goals, your mind gets confused. It fights your ambitions without you even realizing it, because you're sending mixed signals to yourself. Now consider how powerful it is to deliberately choose habits that align perfectly with your future vision. This is not about overnight transformation or drastic changes that burn out your willpower. It's about small, strategic adjustments that make your future inevitable. It's about honoring the person you want to become by acting like that person today. Each habit becomes a vote cast in favor of your dreams, and when you add up those votes over weeks and months, they create unstoppable momentum. Here's something many miss. Your habits form your identity. When you build habits that reflect your dream life, you don't just work toward a goal, you become the person worthy of that goal. You start waking up with a different mindset, carrying yourself with newfound confidence, and making decisions from a place of strength and clarity. The future you envision isn't some distant fantasy anymore. It's a living reality, unfolding with each intentional habit. This is why it's critical to audit your current habits honestly. Which of them are fueling your progress, and which are holding you hostage to mediocrity? Are your evenings spent mindlessly scrolling, or are you preparing your mind and body for success tomorrow? Are you nourishing your body with junk or fueling it with energy? Are you surrounding yourself with distraction and doubt, or with inspiration and support? Your future self is waiting for you to choose the habits that serve their success. You might be wondering how to start when your current habits feel deeply ingrained, or when the road ahead seems overwhelming. The secret is to begin small and be ruthless with consistency. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to pick one or two key habits that have the highest impact on your future and commit to them fiercely. Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes each morning. Maybe it's reading one page of a book each night. Or maybe it's dedicating 15 minutes to focused work before distractions take over. These tiny acts create a foundation you can build on without burning out. Here's the hidden beauty of aligned habits. They don't just push you toward your dreams, they reshape your self-belief. When you keep promises to yourself through daily habits, you develop an unshakable trust in your ability to change your life. Your self-esteem isn't just a feeling anymore, it's a fact proven by your actions. And when your identity shifts to, I am someone who follows through, your entire life begins to reflect that truth. But beware, the biggest threat to adopting powerful habits is inconsistency wrapped in excuses. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm too tired today. Yet every time you delay, you're training your mind to believe that your dreams can wait, and that's a lesson you never want to teach yourself. The moment you choose the habit aligned with your dream, even if it's just one small step, you're teaching your brain that your goals are worth the effort, no matter how you feel. This is where commitment shines brighter than motivation. Motivation will flicker and fade, but your commitment to the habits that match your dream life must be relentless. When you link your habits to the emotions behind your goals, the freedom you desire, the peace you crave, the legacy you want to leave, you create a powerful inner drive that sustains your efforts far beyond initial enthusiasm. Let me share something crucial. Your environment plays a massive role in habit formation. If your surroundings don't support your future-focused habits, you'll constantly fight against resistance. Change your environment to make the right habits easier to do and the wrong habits harder. Remove distractions, seek out accountability, and immerse yourself in communities that embody the life you want. When your environment breathes life into your habits, success becomes not just possible but inevitable. Remember, the path to your dream life is not a mystery, it's a series of daily decisions. Each habit you choose today is an investment in that future. The more intentional you become, the more your actions will feel effortless because they're in harmony with who you are becoming. The person you want to be is waiting on the other side of these consistent choices. So ask yourself right now, are my habits building the future I imagine? Am I living as if my dream life is already mine? If the answer is no, then it's time for a course correction. It's time to shed the habits that no longer serve you and welcome new ones that elevate you. Your dreams deserve more than wishful thinking. They deserve action that matches their magnitude. You have the power to rewrite your story by rewriting your habits. It's never too late to start. Your dream life is crafted by what you do daily, not by what you hope for someday. Choose your habits wisely, nurture them with consistency, and watch as your future unfolds with unstoppable force. Right now, commit to one habit that resonates deeply with your dream. Make it non-negotiable. Protect it fiercely. Build from there. Your future self is already thanking you. Step into the person you want to become by choosing habits that honor that vision. Your dream life isn't a distant illusion. It's a reality you create habit by habit, choice by choice. Start today. Choose your habits with intention. Align your actions with your dreams, and watch as your future transforms before your very eyes. Number 10, prove yourself right with results, not opinions. If you want to break free from doubt and silence the noise of others, the only language you need to master is the language of results. Opinions are cheap. They float around like leaves in the wind, shifting and changing without weight or substance. But results are undeniable. They don't argue, they don't debate, and they certainly don't apologize. They stand tall and speak loud enough for the world to hear. Too often people get caught up in what others think, in the whispers of doubt that chip away at their confidence. You hear it all the time. You can't do that. It's not realistic, or who do you think you are? These opinions can be poisonous if you let them sink in. But here's a profound truth. Opinions are not reality. Your real proof lies in the work you do, the progress you make, and the transformation you create. If you want to rise, you must stop defending yourself with words and start proving yourself with results. Imagine for a moment two individuals standing side by side. One talks endlessly about what they will do, who they will become, and how the future should unfold. The other moves quietly, deliberately, and steadily toward their goals. Over time, the second person's achievements outshine all the promises and excuses of the first. Why? Because results tell the only story that truly matters. The story of action, persistence, and real change. This is not about arrogance or ego. It's about integrity and authenticity. When you prove yourself right with results, you stop begging for approval. You earn respect naturally because your actions have power. People start listening, not because you argue louder, but because you have demonstrated what is possible. You become a living example of success, not just an idea floating in the air. Many people live trapped in the cycle of trying to convince others and themselves through empty words and explanations. They spend energy defending their dreams against naysayers, instead of investing that energy in moving forward. This exhaustion leads to frustration, confusion, and eventually giving up. But the person who focuses on results understands something critical. Every step forward, no matter how small, builds a mountain of proof that silence all doubts. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation through opinions. Social media likes, compliments, and encouragement feel good momentarily, but they don't sustain growth or fuel deep confidence. Real validation comes from seeing your efforts bear fruit. It comes from the quiet satisfaction of knowing you showed up, put in the work, and made progress even when it was hard. That feeling can't be stolen or questioned. It belongs to you. Now you might ask, but what if my results aren't where I want them yet? How do I prove myself right when I'm still struggling? The answer is to redefine what results mean. Results are not only the big wins, they are the consistent steps, the daily improvements, and the refusal to quit. Progress is proof. Every time you rise after a fall, every time you choose to keep going despite fear or failure, you add to your evidence. The path to success is a collection of results, some small and some big, but all meaningful. Think about the psychological shift that happens when you stop arguing and start showing up. Your mind aligns with your actions. Your self-esteem grows because it's no longer dependent on external approval, but on internal achievement. You begin to embody the truth of your potential. The loudest voice in the room becomes your own voice, rooted in confidence and accomplishment. It's also important to recognize how proving yourself through results reshapes your relationships. When people see your commitment and the progress you make, they either rise with you or step aside. Those who don't believe in you will eventually reveal themselves through their lack of support or negativity. And that's okay, because your results create a filter. Only those who genuinely want to see you succeed remain close. Your journey becomes a beacon, attracting the right energy and repelling doubt. One of the most powerful habits of high achievers is their ability to measure their growth honestly. They set clear goals and track their progress with brutal honesty, not sugarcoating or hiding failures. This transparency with themselves fuels resilience and provides real data to prove they are moving forward. If you want to prove yourself right, you must be willing to confront the truth of where you are and take ownership of your results. Now imagine how unstoppable you become when your energy shifts from defending yourself to delivering results. Your focus sharpens because you no longer waste time on arguments or convincing skeptics. Instead, you channel every ounce of effort into creating impact. This mindset frees you from the paralysis of doubt and propels you toward your highest potential. Here's a secret many never realize. People don't remember your excuses, but they remember your achievements. History honors those who produce, those who build, those who create legacy. The opinions of critics fade like echoes, but your results carve your name into reality. This is your chance to move beyond talk and into the realm of action, where true transformation happens. So what's the next step? Start by setting measurable goals that align with your vision. Break those goals into daily actions that lead to tangible outcomes. Celebrate progress, no matter how incremental, because each small victory builds undeniable proof. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself that your value is not in what others think, but in what you create. It's time to stop justifying and start delivering. Speak less, do more. Let your results be the roar that drowns out the noise of opinions. When you become obsessed with proving yourself right through action, you unlock a level of self-trust and power few ever experience. Remember, the difference between those who succeed and those who don't often lies in this simple principle. The winners don't wait for permission or approval. They create proof through relentless, focused results. Be that person. Build your life on results, not on the shifting sands of opinion. Take control today. Choose action over argument. Invest your energy in progress, not persuasion. Let your results tell your story and watch how your world transforms because of it. Your future demands proof. Give it to yourself and then show it to the world.